We're in the season of writing. The literacy challenge is ongoing, and we've given the young authors the chance to channel their inner Chimamanda by writing. This is not a story though, they're writing an essay on a very hard topic. But this week we're also talking to some people who've made time to write, not because they were born authors, but they've proved the theory that if something is important, you have to make time for it. So I have Dr. Demi Letsa, a Ghanaian global health professional and storyteller, whose work has taken across Africa and the world with years of experience leading international development efforts. She now turns her attention to the stories that have long lived in her head and heart. So Demi, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bernard.
I'm so proud of you. My God. I mean, I was, I know you, but I didn't know you had done so much in your life. And then to think that you made time to write this, what a proper book is?
Yes.
It's a book and a proper book.
It's almost a tome.
You know how people write books and they're like, Aloski, I've written a book. Like, this is not a book. This is like a pamphlet. Wow. So this is your first book?
Yes, it is. It's my debut novel.
It's a novel. The 28th February House.
Yes.
Tell me about your writing journey, because I know you as a SHAC medical student, health professional.
I'm not a medical student. I'm a PhD.
Of course.
Rather.
Yes.
In population reproductive health.
All right. Okay.
But a science student through and through.
Yes. And you worked with Population Council,
yes.
Total Health, Total Family Health, USAID, all these people.
Mm-hmm.
You have a PhD.
Yes.
That means that you're a proper scientist.
I am.
All right. So my question is, when did the writing journey, have you always been a writer?
I have always been a reader.
Okay.
That I would say.
Okay.
I've always been a reader from as far back as I can remember. So I will have to thank my parents for instilling that into all of us.
Okay.
Writing came probably maybe after JSS a bit.
Okay.
We were some of the test babies where they were doing the transition between the old system and the rolling system. So in between you had to wait a bit. And I wrote a little bit, but I never shared it with anyone. And life took me in many places since I was a science student.
Yeah.
But I always kept the habit of reading. So I would say reading always kept me more creative than, the sciences are hard facts and,
So even though you were doing science, you always had this time to read, and we were reading. What kind of stuff were you reading?
All kinds of things, but the genre I enjoyed the most really is fiction. Yes,
I see.
But I also do non-fiction. Last year, 2023 for instance, I decided to read the autobiographies of women in power. So I did Madeleine Albright, I did Nancy Pelosi, and Margaret Thatcher.
Correct.
And that took almost the entire year.
Yeah.
Yes, because that was a lot of work.
Wow.
But the genre I love the most is fiction.
So there's a difference between reading and writing, right?
Yes.
Which is that the more you read, the more you get the flair to write.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. So when did you decide to write seriously?
Well, I think after, I don't want to age myself, but after 40.
Okay.
I decided that it's either now or never, because I'm never going to do it if I don't actually sit down and begin. So in 2020, I decided, the world has shut down.
COVID.
Yes, COVID. We have a little bit more time on our hands now.
Okay.
Let's think about what's really important. What is my passion?
Wow.
And I just sort of channeled it into this.
So the reset of COVID gave you the time to.
Yes.
And also, I guess, as you said, where you had gotten to in life, things that. So which means writing had always been important to you.
It has. It has. Certainly.
But you hadn't made the time because of your busy schedules.
Yes, this work you see took 5 years because we're working.
5 years.
Yes.
Oh my
Man,
God.
the quality of the book.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and I'm impressed to know it's published here. It's really good.
Yes, it is.
2 bloodlines, 1 buried truth, a legacy that won't let go.
Come on.
And this, I don't even know where I should read it, but this is like a small blurb. Dana Norman, or was it Dana?
Dana, yes.
Has always known and remembered the story, the brutal killing of her great-grandfather, one of the ex-servicemen shot on 28th February 1948 in colonial Ghana. But when she uncovers her great-grandmother's diary, Dana begins to see the past and herself through new eyes. Zachary Imre, a Kenyan sculptor running from his own grief, arrives in Ghana seeking solace. But he is tied to that same history by blood. His great-grandfather was the British colonial officer responsible for the 1948 events. Don't tell me they meet and fall in love. Don't tell me. Don't tell me.
You never know.
As secret surface and desire deepens, Dana and Zach are drawn together and torn apart by the weight of betrayal, guilt, and a history neither can escape. The 28th February House is a moving story of love, legacy, and the courage to face the past. Amazing. So this is fiction, but rooted in some
historical events. Yes.
Where do you get this idea from?
Oh, I've always been a history aficionado. I don't know why. Like I said, although I was a science student, that's why we shouldn't limit our children
At all.
And box them into this square or into that square. You can do everything, and you can always pursue your interest. If you're creative in any way, interested in music, arts, literature, what have you, you can still do both. Or if you're in that lane and you're doing literature and the arts, you can also pursue the sciences and learn about things.
The SHS system didn't help us because the A-level system you could actually combine. Of course, a lot of parents these days do Cambridge, which allows you to combine pretty nicely. So you like history even though you were science.
Yes. And so I think Ghanaian history is not told as often as we would like it to. We all know a little bit of history from history class or from social studies, and that's it. So we know the major things on the highway of Ghana's history: independence, 56, then this, then that. But we don't know the corners and all the other dynamics that happened, right? In our historical journey as a nation. So I'm not a historian. I didn't want to write a history textbook. I am not qualified or trained to do that, but through fiction you learn a lot, and so I decided to
try to lace it and also fill some of the gaps. So even though it's fiction, there are things that will be real.
Yes.
Can you imagine if this was made a movie?
Imagine.
Crazy.
Where are the funders?
You never know. I like it. So but writing is not just putting pen to paper, right? You need a whole ecosystem. So when you decided to write in 2020, was it just let me just put something on paper, or let me go the full journey? Just talk to me about how that, because this is now a book I'm holding in my hand, high quality one as that.
It is.
So yeah.
So I began putting things down. I had a structure of the story in mind, but of course it's unfurled or unfolded in me in different ways. So I did not have the end in mind, but I knew sort of the general direction in which I wanted to go, and I had a skeletal outline. For it, and I think that guides you. So even in like essay writing, fiction, what have you.
I like the idea that you may not know the end, but you have to start.
You have to start, yes. And I also had to do my research.
Okay.
So yes, you have to know the facts of the story, although we're, creating a world, an alternative world through fiction and storytelling. I also had to have the facts in mind. So I did a lot of research. I listened to Colin Imre's speech that is online. You can listen to a lot of work from archives. That also helped ground the story in, the facts of it. So yeah.
Kapioko, I just opened a page, chapter 28. By the way, this is over 400 pages of pure gold. The ceramic box sat on the table like an accusation. And you see, the thing about these kids is that when you listen to this, all the figures of speech are nicely used. So it's very immersive as you read, right? Dana hadn't moved it since the day Ediniko placed it in her hands at the bank, and she had brought it home. She could still hear his voice. Be careful with whom you share the missive. The words had clung to her all week. This morning, alone in the living room, she felt restless. She reached for Ceci's diary. The leather-bound pages felt softer now, worn further by her fingers thumbing through them over and over. She turned to the entry where she had left off. March 1950. So then there's a whole recollection. I can even imagine. The envelope came today, postmarked from Nairobi. No letter inside, only a receipt, a remittance from Colin Imre. I did not need words. The act itself spoke. He had taken my Anan, shot him down without hesitation, a man he once called comrade, a man who trusted him and had obeyed his orders. I have hated him. I still do, but I understand what this is, a man trying in his way to pay for a debt he cannot clear. The first payment will go towards keeping my daughter fed, toward keeping a roof over our heads. I will accept it, not as forgiveness, but as my survival. I will not call it mercy. Dana stared at the page, her throat dry. She reread the entry, slower, tracing the words with her finger. Colin Imrie, she knew the name well. The British superintendent from 1948 events, the one whose bullets had shattered her family's history. Hey! Wow. Madam!
Bernard, you're a great reader. You're really bringing it to life.
You know, the only achievement I have to my name, when I was in university primary school, I was the class reader in JSS 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
So usually when they are doing English and then Mrs. Adamunto or Mr. Usu comes and says, today we are going to read. Somehow when I read, people understood it. Yeah. So maybe that's why I'm doing the job.
You can see why.
Yeah.
I know, right?
I was their class reader. So this journey, did you get any formal training in writing? Because this is professional writing.
So no, I do not have formal training in writing, but creative writing gives you some leeway, right? But after I wrote the manuscript, I had to test it out. I had 2 beta readers. You know, like you develop a product, you have to do some product testing. So they read it and were very helpful in, you know, some of the more technical writing aspects, like, you know, character development, their arts and so forth. But reading itself gave me, because I've read uncountable number of novels, and it gave me ideas of how people write, of how successful writers have written. You know, so that certainly.
So do you have a publisher or self-published?
I self-published, but I do have a printer, and it's
Dafoko.
Yes.
Dafoko,
you know who that is.
when I ran for elections on Legon campus, he did all my posters.
You see, so he's been in the game for a long time.
He's a very good friend of mine. He was my mate in secondary school.
Yes,
Daniel Foster Kokroko. This is amazing. Apiyoko, this is incredible.
It is, and I had the privilege of being one of the first people to hold a book and read it.
Wow.
And I conducted Demi's author chat during the launch of the book. So,
wow.
Bernard, you've just experienced the surface of the entire.
I want the part they fell in love, and then you know I can see how the love will be tested by the discovery of the history and the conflict.
So it's a beautiful Ghanaian love story.
I love it, man.
You know, but that of course spans.
Where can we get copies?
You can find copies at Kingdom Books, both their headquarters and the one on University of Ghana campus. Then also online at Rogale Books and Readers Hub. So if you go to Instagram, Readers Hub Bookstore, you can get copies there.
What's your advice to our young writers who are attempting to begin their writing journey with the literacy challenge? This is not non-fiction. This is a serious topic, right? But what's your advice? How should they approach this?
Well, first they should do the research, right? I think this year's literacy challenge is merging, you know, how climate change is affecting agriculture. So they'll have to understand climate change and the agricultural terrain, the facts, the figures, the numbers, and all of that. But I think 11 to 15-year-olds now are very tech savvy. They're very good with their iPads and their computers and all of that, much better than we are, I am. So getting the facts together shouldn't be a problem for them at all. Then we believe in our young children, they can actually find innovative solutions. And I'm sure the judges, you guys are really looking forward to reading what kind of novel ideas they have. We were trained in a certain way, our brains are fixed in a certain way, but they have their neuronal synapses still forming, and so they can come up with ideas that we have not even thought about. So just put pen to paper, do your research, put pen to paper,
go for it,
and go for it. Really, you have nothing to lose but everything to gain.
You know, Dr. Demi Letsa is incredible. Maybe on another day I'll interview you about your profession.
You heard the scientist in her just
come
out a little bit there.
And my dad did a bit of demography.
Oh, wonderful.
And he used to work at RIPS. So when I see somebody who's doing anything in that area, I get interested. So one day we can have a conversation about that. But I feel like I see a few things you've said. So basically science, but writing, right? Very important. So don't say writing and the creatives is just for the arts.
Exactly.
A hardcore science person with a PhD can also do fiction. That's the other thing. So you can read both non-fiction and fiction, but I think it's a greater skill to write fiction.
It is.
It's a greater talent to attempt to do fiction. So for that, congratulations.
Thank you.
And then for the young writers listening, let's start this journey with the literacy challenge. And even if you decide that you're not going to be a writer in future, the idea that you can, at age 40, say, hey, let me do a book, and it will come out this nice, tells you that there's nothing that you can't do. So put pen to paper in not less than 600 words, discuss the effects of climate change on agriculture. It's the literacy challenge, stage 1. Identify challenges that this climate change poses to the country, and then suggest practical solutions. Apioko, this is incredible, right?
It is.
Oh man, Demi, you did form.
Everybody needs to go and get
my problem is if I start reading, I can't stop.
Well,
that's my problem.
We all have the same problem.
That's a problem.
Right?
That's a problem. So I don't know. I wish I could just read one chapter and wait.
But you
I
know
can't.
what I've started doing?
Tell me.
Because that is my problem. Some people have the problem of not being able to read. Ben and I, and you, Demi, we have the opposite problem. So I schedule my reading. When the 1 hour or the 2 hours have elapsed, they have elapsed. Okay. It's just like giving yourself.
So the reading time is this specific time.
Yes. And I want to advise people who struggle to read and even to write. So you have the skill, but you say, I don't have time. I tell my mentees all the time, read a line a day.
Okay.
Once you start reading the one line, you end up doing a paragraph. Write a line a day. Once you start writing, you do a verse. If it's poetry, you do a paragraph. If it's
read a line a day, write a paragraph a day.
And chant a psalm a day.
Chant a psalm a day. Thank you, Dr. Demi Letsa, a global health professional, author, and founder of Legacy 28 Press, author of The 28th February House, a book I can't wait to get into. And of course, under the auspices of our conversations around the literacy challenge. See you soon.
All right. See you. Thank you very much, Bernard.
Yes, please.